What happens when the most loyal soldier in hip-hop finally decides to spill the tea on his general's next move? That's right, Tony Yayo, the G-Unit ride or die who's been holding down 50 Cent since mixtape days, has just dropped a bombshell that has the rap world clutching its pearls. According to Yayo, 50 Cent shouldn't and won't respond to Rick Ross, Big Meech, or even Lil Meech, no matter how messy the shots get. Now let's be clear. This isn't just another rap beef. This is like a Marvel crossover event where every villain shows up at once. Rick Ross still hasn't let go of his decade-long obsession with clowning 50. Big Meech's name gets dragged into the chaos every time BMF is trending. And Lil Meech, he's somehow become both a star on screen and a magnet for off-screen controversy. The internet is screaming for 50 to clap back. But Yayo says nope, not this time. And if you thought this tea was lukewarm, think again. Yayo laid it out with savage precision, explaining why silence might actually be 50's deadliest weapon. Forget the Kardashians, this drama makes their family feuds look like Disney Channel reruns. Buckle up. This is about to get ugly. When it comes to 50 Cent, responding to disrespect has always been his brand. This is the man who built an empire out of clapbacks. Remember Ya Rule? One diss and 50 bought out the first row of his concert just to sit empty. Remember his feuds with Diddy, Floyd Mayweather, Wendy Williams, and even his own power castmates. 50 doesn't let anything slide. He's hip-hop's troll-in-chief, a master of turning enemies into memes and memes into marketing. So when Rick Ross, Big Meech's legacy, and Lil Meech himself all somehow end up in the same scandal stew, fans expected 50 to go nuclear. But Tony Yayo just flipped the script. Sitting down in an interview that went viral faster than Blueface's baby mama drama, Yayo calmly explained that 50 Cent is playing chess, not checkers. According to him, responding to Rick Ross, Meech, or Lil Meech is a waste of time and possibly a trap. Let's break it down. First, Rick Ross. The beef between Ross and 50 has been simmering since 2009, when Ross accused 50 of looking at him the wrong way at an award show. Yes, you heard that right, this wasn't about money or power at first. It was about a look. What followed was one of the most savage feuds in rap history. Diss tracks, lawsuits, baby mama drama, and 50 literally filming himself taking Ross's ex shopping. Ross fired back with constant jabs about 50's finances, his vitamin water deal, and even his weight. Over a decade later, Ross still can't resist throwing shade, whether it's about BMF the series or 50's business moves. Fans always wait for 50 to respond, but Yayo says it's not worth it. Why? Because Ross thrives off attention. He's like that one troll in your Instagram comments who lives for the clapback. Then there's Big Meech. For context, Demetrius Big Meech Flannery isn't just a name, he's a legend. The founder of BMF, Meech became a symbol of street power, money, and excess. When 50 turned his story into a TV empire with BMF, the culture went crazy. But here's the problem. The line between honoring someone's legacy and exploiting it for ratings is razor thin. Every time something goes wrong in 50's orbit, whether it's casting choices, plot lines, or behind-the-scenes beef, Meech's name gets dragged in. Fans ask if 50 is really doing right by him, or just cashing out. And Yayo made it clear, 50 doesn't need to dignify every whisper with a response. Because the receipts to show's success, the ratings, the headlines already speak louder than any diss track. And finally, Lil Meech. If Big Meech is the legend, Lil Meech is the heir, at least in Hollywood's eyes. Cast by 50 himself to play his father in BMF, Lil Meech went from unknown to household name overnight. But fame comes with baggage. Instead of focusing on his breakout role, Lil Meech found himself trending for scandals, cheating rumors, jewelry theft allegations, airport drama, and messy relationship headlines. Every time his name popped up, people dragged 50 too, as if Lil Meech's actions reflected on him. Fans begged 50 to put Lil Meech in his place, but Yayo says nah, 50 doesn't need to risk looking like the old man lecturing the kid. Sometimes silence is more powerful than the loudest diss. The initial reactions to Yayo's revelation were priceless. Some fans applauded it, calling it grown man energy. They argued that 50 has too much money and too many businesses to waste his time on recycled beef. Why punch down when you're already on top? One fan wrote, but others were disappointed, claiming that silence isn't 50's style. This ain't the 50 Cent I know, another fan tweeted. Where's the petty king we grew up on? The internet was split, and the debate only added more fuel to the fire. As always, once celebrities caught wind of the story, the drama ballooned. Rick Ross couldn't resist responding. He posted a video flexing in his mansion, laughing at the idea that 50 was too grown to clap back. That boy 50 scared, Ross said between bites of lobster, making sure to remind everyone that he's still rich, still petty, and still obsessed. Fans rolled their eyes because, let's be honest, Ross has been recycling the same shots for years. But the shade still made headlines. Then came Lil Meech, who played it cool but couldn't resist dropping a subliminal or two. On Instagram Live, he hinted that he don't need nobody to validate me, clearly aimed at the chatter around 50 Cent and the BMF empire. It wasn't a direct diss, but the subtext was messy enough to keep blogs buzzing. Meanwhile, 50 himself stayed silent, exactly as Yayo predicted. Instead of posting about Ross or Meech, he continued plugging his liquor brand, promoting BMF's next season, and trolling his usual random targets. The silence was deafening, and fans started realizing maybe Yayo was right. Maybe the lack of response was the power move. Because let's face it, 50 doesn't need to clap back when his shows are topping ratings, his businesses are thriving, and his bank account is screaming louder than any diss track. The memes, of course, took over. One viral edit showed Ross yelling into a microphone with the caption, "Please respond. I need this for relevance." Another showed Lil Meech sitting in class with 50 as the teacher ignoring him. Captioned, "When your dad's boss won't even acknowledge you." Twitter roasted the entire situation, turning Yayo into the unexpected hero. Tony Yayo just saved 50 from wasting time. One fan tweeted, "Give this man a raise," but it wasn't all jokes. Some commentators pointed out how rare it is in hip-hop for someone to advocate for silence over violence, for ignoring rather than escalating. In a culture where beef often spills from records to real life, Yayo's advice felt revolutionary. One podcast put it perfectly. Tony Yayo is saying what Oggs should have said decades ago. Not every shot needs a response. Sometimes silence is the loudest diss. And that's where the story takes its darkest twist. Because if 50 really stays silent, what does that mean for Ross, for Meech, and for the culture at large? Does it kill the beef, or make it worse? Some fans believe Ross will keep poking, desperate for a response, while others think ignoring him will finally make him stop. As for Lil Meech, will he carve his own path without 50's approval, or will he spiral further into controversy without a mentor to check him? The consequences stretch beyond the individuals. For 50, this could mark a turning point from rap's troll god to a legit media mogul who's above the drama. For Ross, it could be the beginning of irrelevance, shouting into a void without an opponent. And for Lil Meech, it's either the start of independence or the fall into becoming another what-if story. Tony Yayo's revelation wasn't just a comment. It was a strategy, a playbook, a warning. And in hip-hop, where words are weapons, choosing silence is the boldest weapon of all. And there you have it, Tony Yayo didn't just speak. He laid down the gospel. In a world where every rapper's ego is bigger than their mansion, Yayo basically told 50 Cent, "Don't even bother. You're too rich, too powerful, and too booked to be clapping back at the same dudes you already buried a decade ago." And honestly, he's not wrong. Rick Ross can keep posting seafood feasts and screaming about the biggest boss. Big Meech's name will always live in the streets, but 50's turning it into ratings gold. And Lil Meech, let's just say trending for cheating rumors and jewelry scandals, isn't quite the legacy Big Meech probably had in mind. Meanwhile, 50 Cent is counting TV checks, champagne money, and Instagram views while saying absolutely nothing. That's not silence, that's strategy. But here's the kicker. Do you agree with Yayo? Should 50 let Ross and the Meeches bark into the void, or should he unleash the petty clapback king we all know and love? Drop your answers in the comments, because this debate is about to get nastier than a love and hip-hop reunion fight. And while you're down there, smash that like button like Ross smashes a lemon pepper wing. Subscribe harder than 50 hustled vitamin water. And hit that notification bell like Lil Meech hitting refresh on his mentions. Because here at the Fame Street, we don't just cover scandals, we turn them into blockbusters. This is the Fame Street. Signing off with a reminder, in hip-hop, silence can be louder than gunshots. But the mess never dies. Stay tuned.